Welcome to the weekend edition of the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. On today's podcast, we feature all the best segments from this week's slate of Undisputed with in-depth interviews and discussions. We have a lot to talk about heading into Monday. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Conor McGregor was charged with 3 counts of misdemeanor assault and 1 count of felony criminal mischief after attacking a UFC bus in New York yesterday. Several fighters were injured in the incident, and the UFC lost 3 fights from tomorrow's event. Dana White called it, quote, the most disgusting thing that has ever happened in UFC history. Dana was on First Things First this morning and was asked about Conor's future. Let's take a listen.
People keep asking me, you're going to fire him, you're going to fire him. This is way bigger than are you going to fire a guy. This is criminal. This is other fighters. You know, some of our staff, one of our security
broke
guys.
His knuckles?
Yeah, broken knuckle, was punched repeatedly by guys. You know, these type of... We have the whole footage. We have the footage from the cameras that were shooting UFC embedded, cameras from inside and outside, and the arenas. So we literally have everything.
Skip, what will this incident mean for Conor's future?
This incident will detonate Conor's future for the better, not for the worse. I don't know if he's going to go to jail or not. I doubt he'll go to jail, but ladies and gentlemen, you have just been had. I am convinced this is nothing but Don King Memorial fight hype. This was a staged pro wrestling style promotion of the highest order that probably went a little over the top and over the edge, because I think Dana White was genuinely angry that Conor went so far as to shatter the glass of the bus, which then injured 2 of his fighters, his UFC fighters. But I believe that Conor McGregor flew, what did you say it was, 6.5 hours from Dublin, Ireland to JFK, and then went to the Barclays Center simply because he knew it was media day and that he could throw the biggest promotional ploy stunt at the world that we may have ever seen. I can't remember one quite of this magnitude, where then Conor obviously had to turn himself into the police because he's charged with assault and criminal mischief. And he needs to stay relevant. He needs to enhance his reputation as the baddest man on the planet, his thuggish street-fighting reputation from Dublin, Ireland. And I think he did all of the above, checked every box ahead of what will become the richest, biggest hand-to-hand combat fight in world history. And this one will take place in the octagon between Conor McGregor and Floyd Mayweather Jr. Yes, yes, yes. It is going to happen. Floyd made $300 million the first time. Somewhere he's watching this chuckling, thinking, that's my boy, Conor. I needed that. He needed this. We needed this. We need to stay in the news.
No, they don't.
Yep. And Floyd's going to walk away with maybe he made $300 million in the boxing ring against Conor, $600 million. It'll be double. It could be triple.
To know that you would take great satisfaction in Floyd getting pummeled by Conor McGregor because you say payback would be fair, considering that Conor got into his sport.
I don't know. Maybe Floyd wins. I don't know. Who knows? I challenge you, Floyd. I dare you.
Skip, you going to sit there with a straight face and say in an octagon, in a UFC match.
Floyd thinks he can do just about anything he wants to do. You know it and I know it. And I'm convinced that Floyd looked into Conor McGregor's eyes and down into his soul and thought, I'm just a better man than you.
In the boxing ring, absolutely, Skip. I would agree 1,000%.
But I think he thinks he can just outfox Conor even on his turf in the octagon.
If you notice, look at the octagon. They got wire. You know where they have wire at? In prison. Because that's the mentality you got to have to go up in there. They say you got to have a screw loose to, like, play football. You got to have several loose to get in there. Because that's a whole different animal, Skip.
Unless you're the smartest hand-to-hand fighter ever.
But very few times that you can go in there and just win a fight with your hand. So what happened?
Conor mostly does. Conor just likes to box. You know that. He's a striker, man. He likes to box. Against Nate Diaz, what did he want to do? Stand up and exchange.
Yeah, but that's what he did the second time. That ain't what he did the first time.
The first time he let him get a hold of him and take him down.
Exactly.
And Nate Diaz weighed, 20, 25
No, I didn't weigh nothing. Choked him out. Made him say Uncle Joy.
Weighed 25 more.
He said, call me Uncle.
Yeah.
Call the man Uncle.
Okay.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And that's what you see. That's what you want.
But Conor doesn't want to take Floyd to the mat. That would be a mismatch. That'd be a joke.
I'm trying to win.
Huh?
I'm trying to win. If I can choke you out, if I can knee you in your face, break your jaw, I'm trying to win. I don't care.
Floyd his own game.
No.
Except you don't have any gloves on those little hands anymore.
Skip Bayless, I can't believe you. Sometimes even I'm miffed and baffled by what you would want to happen.
Okay, but you got to tell me, in your heart of hearts, do you think this was real or staged yesterday? Because I'm saying big time staged.
Even if it was, Skip, you can't go this far. I believe the water bottles toss was staged. But, Skip, he's going over the lines.
But you know and I know it's Conor McGregor. Did he not go over the line verbally in all their media sessions they had?
Yeah, I thought the first one was pretty good. And then, they just had to, one up. You go to Toronto and you go to Barclays, and then what did they go to London? It's just like you got to one up.
Sell that fight? Yes.
We're going to watch that regardless, because I already knew.
You know what the beauty of this matchup is? You actually have two villains. Usually you have a good guy and a villain. Yeah. Now you got two worldwide villains, Floyd and Conor.
No. I think
half the world loves Floyd and hates Conor.
No.
Yeah, they do.
Conor still got him. Huh? Conor still. Those fans, they want to see. Skip, when somebody is unbeaten, untied, after a 2-decade career, you want someone to hang that L on them. And you want that because it's not good enough to just, if he get a decision, that's not good enough for you. You want your pound of flesh. Mm-hmm. You want retribution. You want somebody to have to write you a check for $1,000 so you come on here on Monday morning.
Okay, sure I do.
Why?
But I'd pay to watch, man. I'll pay $1,000 to watch it.
No.
I would.
I'm not paying nothing.
Yeah, you are.
No, I'm not.
Yeah, you are lying to the public.
Skip, I'm not, because I already know the end.
Yeah.
I don't need to watch the crocodile drag the wildebeest out to the center of the lake.
Mm-hmm. People watch those shows all the time.
I do. I like it. But I already know what's going to happen.
After the third media session, you'd listen to Floyd until you'd finally say, you know what, I think Floyd can get it.
No,
he'd convince you.
They could have 10 media sessions. Yeah. I still will not believe Floyd Mayweather can beat Conor McGregor in that octagon.
You got to have faith in your man.
Hell, he got to have faith in himself.
Yeah, Deacon Sharp. Oh, you have little faith?
I got faith in sport. When it comes to sports, I got faith in one man. I got faith in the utmost.
And he don't want to fight nobody.
Oh, he gonna put them hands on Draymond. But Draymond came to be his friend. You see Draymond be hanging out with him now because he ain't want Bron to knuckle up on him. Yeah.
Draymond, who called him the B word in the heat of combat.
And he said, "Look here,
LeBron, you're up."
Bron will forget a beef now.
Yeah. And what he say? He said, "I'm a husband. I'm a father of 3." He said, "I ain't that." He said, don't make me get crunchy with you, Draymond.
Okay.
Y'all know Bron about that.
He said that.
Bron, y'all be taking Bron niceness and all this charity endeavors, but Bron from the mean streets.
And after Draymond calls him that, then LeBron invites him into his barbershop show. I look up and Draymond's in LeBron's barbershop. What?
His original barbershop show. That is the copyright.
His original, that's right.
LeBron came
Well, why did he come? But that's what LeBron do. What LeBron do, Joey? Put some seeds on his dirty neck. Dropped an acorn oak tree. You saw it, Joey. What did Draymond do after that?
Listen, I don't know. LeBron can do what he wants. You beef with me, you beef forever.
Yeah.
So I say Conor McGregor's got one more fight left in his whole career.
No, he
it's
don't.
not in the UFC
of
Dana White. This is going to transcend.
UFC.
This is going to be
Fight
Conor versus Floyd rematch.
Hold up. Fight Tyron Woodley.
Yeah. Nobody wants to see that.
I want to see that.
You do not want to see that.
Yes, I do. I want to see it.
You don't want to fight Habib or anybody else.
I want to see what Nate Diaz did to him again.
So you want to see the trilogy end. I don't even...
Oh, you don't want to see Nate Diaz?
It'd be okay, but I want to see Floyd and Conor. You want to see Floyd and Conor. Everybody wants to see Floyd and Conor.
No. You don't want to see Nate Diaz choke him out again. That's what you don't want to see.
Tell me this. Would Floyd versus Conor in the octagon not be the biggest fight in the history of the world? Would it not be the biggest event? It would be it'd become the biggest sports event, if we can call it that, in the history of the world.
People will watch anything, Skip.
Well, okay. So they watch.
They watch people roll that cheese down. They watch that, Joy. I mean, I don't, Skip. You know he's at a disadvantage because he's never done this before.
Why people would watch. That's why they would pay extraordinary amounts to watch the pay-per-view.
No, I know people like to watch things when they think there's a slight chance that the person can win.
Yep.
There's no Skip. He's not winning. He's not multifaceted enough. He can only box.
I can't believe
the more you say this, you may just be talking him into it.
No, I ain't. I'm trying to talk him out of it.
Like you did at the Jordan party?
Yeah, I tried.
Yeah,
I'm listening.
Yeah, what did Dana say the other day? It would go badly for Floyd. You don't think he knew that would just push the deepest button?
I know that. I know what Dana White's trying to do.
Yeah.
And see, you know what, Skip? You know what? No, it's not happening.
Yep,
You're not going to get me on your side. I know you're trying to. No, I'm not. No, it's not happening.
I don't
We'll wear you
on
down.
my side.
No mercy.
The Patriots have made some major changes to their roster this offseason. Earlier this week, they traded Brandon Cooks to the Rams for the 23rd overall pick in the draft. They've also lost Malcolm Butler, Dion Lewis, Danny Amendola, and Nate Solder. They did make an addition yesterday, signing former Bills wide receiver Jordan Matthews. We're joined by former NFL head coach Eric Mangini. Welcome back, Eric. Good morning.
Good to be back. It's good
How
to
are
see
you,
you
Coach?
guys. It's been a while.
Where's your stand-up partner?
He's in the green room. They didn't want to bring him out with me.
He's referring to Rob Parker, who will be joining us in
Beat
a
him
little
up on a
bit.
Friday, going to the weekend,
Yeah.
and recover.
Skip, we'll start with you. The
Yes.
Patriots taking a step back this offseason.
Coach Mangini, you obviously know Bill Belichick very well. You coached under him, worked with him for a number of years. You've had your issues with him. I have now a big issue with him. You're probably going to tell me I'm out of my mind, but I'm going to throw all of this at you, and you react to this, please. I do not any longer trust Bill Belichick's motives when it comes to Tom Brady, because Bill Belichick clearly wanted Tom Brady out after last season. According to the ESPN report, Bill Belichick was ordered by Robert Kraft to trade Jimmy Garoppolo, Belichick's diamond in the rough from the second round, who was right on schedule to take over this football team as the starting quarterback this coming football season. And Bill Belichick said, okay, watch this. This is my take on it. And he gave away Jimmy Garoppolo for a second-round draft choice. He just got, which was the point you made yesterday, he got, for Brandon Cooks, he got a late first, right?
Yep.
So he gave away Jimmy Garoppolo, and we saw what Jimmy did down the stretch for the 49ers. He was pretty great, right? So then what happened? After the AFC Championship game, in which Tom Brady had once again pulled off a miraculous fourth-quarter drive against the coming-of-age Saxonville defense, Bill Belichick openly scoffed at the deep gash on Tom Brady's throwing hand. So did my partner across the table, but this was Bill Belichick, who called it not exactly open heart surgery and more media circus than football crisis. And Tom Brady, in the final episode of Tom vs. Time, displayed for all to see the deep gash that took 12 stitches to close on the base of his thumb on his throwing hand. And I think you would agree that could make it pretty difficult to throw a football in the cold against the Saxonville defense, right? So then what happened in the Super Bowl? All of a sudden, Tom Brady throws for a playoff record 505 yards, but Bill Belichick's genius defense is without Malcolm Butler because nobody seems to really know. Malcolm Butler doesn't know because he stands on the sideline for every defensive snap, plays none after he led the defense with 98% of the snaps during the regular season. What? There's no Malcolm Butler, and you let Nick Foles, the backup quarterback, hang 41 points on you, Bill Belichick, on your defense, which leads us to now you trade away Tom's only deep threat, Brandon Cooks. Fine. What are you going to do? Are you going to help out? Are you going to give Tom a deep threat for next year? So you go get Jordan Matthews. And I love Jordan Matthews personally because he went to my school, Vanderbilt, and he set the SEC career record for catches and receiving yards. But in Philadelphia, he did nothing but drop too many passes. And in Buffalo, he had not one. He had 3 different injuries that cost him last year. And we haven't seen the actual figures of what they signed him for, but it could be less than $1 million for Jordan Matthews. So you're talking about a bargain basement, lame attempt to replace Brandon Cooks. I'm not sure that's going to be Brandon Cooks. He is a big, fast receiver, and I like him personally, but I'm not sure he's going to help very much. And now comes speculation from the inside that maybe Bill's going to trade his draft cash for a young quarterback. Go up to the top 5, maybe the top 2, who knows, maybe even the top 1 to draft one of these quarterbacks to be the next Tom Brady. So once again, there is underlying tension between these two that I don't like and I don't think is going to work for what's left of the Patriots because they've taken a lot of hits in free agency going forward. They are not what they were 1 year ago. Your thoughts?
Okay, so that's a lot to unpack. We got a few things. So let's start with the Brandon Cooks trade. Great trade. They get a guy for $1.5 million. They trade away the 32nd pick in the draft. The next year, they turn that into the 23rd pick in the draft. And now the Rams are paying $8.5 million for Brandon Cooks. And they couldn't re-sign him anyways. They would have had to either franchise him.
Got it.
So that's a big number guy.
But he needs to be replaced. Go ahead.
Okay, in terms of drafting a quarterback, they're not going to draft a quarterback in the first round. At least I can't imagine that's the way it's going to go. He's been a head coach for 23 years. He's never drafted a quarterback in the first round. He's only drafted one wide receiver in the first round. The Malcolm Butler issue, I don't know what happened there. It doesn't make a lot of sense. Odds are there was a very good reason that we don't know about and we'll never know about because that's the way things work. It's kept in-house.
Did it hurt the defense?
In terms of it being his defense, yeah, it's his defense, but it's Matt Patricia's defense, who's now the head coach of the Detroit Lions. So obviously he did enough good work to get that job. And the Eagles did a lot of good things in the playoff run, and so did Nick Foles. That wasn't just unique to New England. Okay, the next thing was replacing the receivers with Jordan Matthews. You forget now there's also Kenny Britt, who's there. There's Cordarrelle Patterson, who's there. They're getting Julian Edelman back. And what does Bill do consistently? He goes and gets guys, and when everybody else has run away from him, and then they go to New England and they do a really good job.
Because the quarterback is really good.
But just the idea of saying it's a bargain basement, that doesn't mean it's bad. That actually just means it's really good business. Remember Randy Moss? Randy Moss was a 4th-round draft pick that they traded, but he was coming off a horrible season. Yes. Suddenly he goes there, and he becomes the Randy Moss that we all knew, and arguably better than what we knew. And to me, this year's free agency period is more in line with the Patriots than what we saw last year. Last year was the aberration. This year is more consistent.
They paid a ton of money for Stephon Gilmore.
They paid a ton of money for him. They traded away the 1st-round draft pick for Cooks. Now this year they've got 2 number 1s and 2 number 2s, which is something they haven't had in a long time.
So you fully expect he'll just sit there or maybe even trade back to create more
typically, they may go get a left tackle in the 1st round, or they could trade back, but they've got a lot of ammunition that they historically haven't had. Tom Brady's hand, it wasn't heart surgery. It was stitches on his hand.
That was your throwing hand.
It wasn't
your right hand.
But it wasn't heart surgery.
Did you see the pictures of it?
I did. It looked really bad.
Yes, factually, it was not heart surgery.
Well, Coach Belichick said he did it at the kitchen accident, so I wouldn't give you no credit. You didn't heard it on my watch. Hey, man, have you ever heard of a quarterback handing the ball off and he gets a laceration that requires 12 stitches in the base of his hand?
Wait, you put quotes around 12 stitches, so you're saying that was
true? I'm
not
saying
true?
The 12. He didn't need 11. He didn't need 13. He got 12. But anyway, have you ever known? I mean,
typically no, but I remember the night before the Super Bowl, we ran out of long snappers, and we brought in this guy who had snapped for Bill in Cleveland, and he had been preaching. That's what he'd done for the last 2 years, but we needed someone.
Right.
So he comes in, and then practice the day before the Super Bowl, rolls it back. That night, he cuts his hand while he's eating a steak, and then he's got to snap the ball in the Super Bowl and for us to win, and he ends up doing it. So look, these things happen.
Higher degree of difficulty, snapping or throwing passes against the Saxonville
I'm just saying when you're
defense.
the long snapper and you've been out for 2 years and you slice your hand with a knife and you've got to make the biggest snap of your career, with the hand, yeah, it was bad. But over the course of his career, Bill's seen a lot worse injuries the guys have played with.
Yeah, and that was my point. And that's my point. And what E-Man is saying is that he cut his hand cutting a steak, not snapping a football. That's what E-Man was trying to get at.
You know what? You could be right. Maybe it didn't happen getting caught on Burkhead's helmet in practice.
Okay.
Maybe it was something else. But it happened. It was gashed. This is how you grip the football. Did Tom Brady not say there was a night, what was it, Wednesday night going to Thursday? He wasn't sure he could even play on Sunday.
But Skip, what should Bill have done? Create a sense of urgency in the press conference, like, oh my God, this injury's so bad.
Give him a little break. Give him a little credit.
So
maybe just a little bit. So he sounded like Shannon Sharp in the postgame, trying to discount what Tom Brady done. Was Tom Brady not great in the fourth quarter against a really good secondary?
What Coach Belichick always does is that he doesn't give his team excuses if we were to lose. Well, we lost because of Tom's injury, like somebody else I know.
Nobody gave it excuse. It's just what? It just was a thing. It happened.
It happened.
Yeah. It was a deep gash.
That dub happened for old Foles.
But did I need an excuse after the game? Yeah. I didn't need an excuse.
I think the other thing when you look at this whole free agency period and the Patriots this offseason and the sense of alarm that everybody has. Remember last year when the question was, can they go undefeated this year? Yeah. Are they the most loaded they've ever been? All that, I mean, it doesn't mean anything.
Well, did they not win free agency last year?
I mean, I guess so. Stephon Gilmore early in the season couldn't get lined up. Brandon Cooks had, okay stats. Coney Ealy didn't even play it down. Did they win free agency?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Hold on. You talk about they cut him. Guess who picked him up?
The Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
We got him.
So his third team.
I guess Dallas is winning free agency this year.
What happens, Eric? My Cowboys, they wait until they can get a bargain basement deal. See, they bring in Coney Ealy when he gets cut by Bill Belichick.
How about his 14? Wouldn't this concern you a little bit, E-Man? You on your 4th team in a year?
Yeah, that'd be a concern. And bargain basement coming from the Patriots is different than bargain basement coming from somewhere else.
I'm just throwing your argument back at you.
I mean, a guy, think about this, Skip. A guy that had 3 sacks, an interception, a forced fumble in the Super Bowl is on his 4th team since that Super Bowl.
I loved him at Missouri. Maybe he's born to be a Dallas Cowboy.
There's a lot of singers that have one-hit wonders.
Yeah.
That the song that everybody can't
get. Rockwell had one. Feel like somebody watching me. Yeah, especially when I'm on this show.
Well, I would hope that there's
no, I'm talking about this one.
Oh.
You mean following you on Twitter?
Oh, they be loving you. They love you, boy. I'm about to catch you.
No mercy. Our next guest is an all-pro cornerback. He's got 10 career interceptions and just finished his 2nd season in Washington. Josh Norman, welcome to Undisputed.
Thank you.
Good to have you.
Thanks for having me, man.
You've got a celebrity basketball game on Saturday to benefit your charity, the Stars 24 Foundation. Can you tell us about it?
Yeah, Stars 24, nonprofit organization founded back in 2012. When I first started, came into the league, helping with the kids that out risk and the youth of the community that can't really, function and physical outlet and play. So we try to have events and we put on for them each and every year. They can come out too and, have a bit of fun, take a little bit off of what they see in the everyday society. So we try to help out in that way.
Can you play?
Can I play?
I just asked.
Is that a question? I play football. I'm pretty good at that. I kind of translate that and relating to the basketball game. Actually, playing sports was the thing that we did growing up. Played basketball, baseball, football, ran track, swim.
Are you an above-the-rim basketball player?
Am I? I mean, I play a little bit up there, but not lately because of, we got to kind of stay safe.
Yeah,
right?
We
got to stay safe.
Exactly. All right, Josh, so let's talk a little bit about the NFC East. How would you rank the teams in your division?
Well, of course, I'm going to say us. Along the team. Hey, I'm never out of it. I don't care who we see or who is out there playing.
Do you know the green team?
We know the green team, man. We know they won. That's all good. But I mean, as long as I'm on watching Redskins, we're the team to beat. So that's my mindset. Obviously, they're the champions, so you got to beat the champions. I'll put them second behind us, and then the Cowboys and the Giants can battle for who third. Really, that's how I look at it.
So, are you saying that Alex Smith is better than Kirk Cousins?
Am I saying Alex Smith is better than Kirk Cousins? I'm saying Kirk Cousins in, Minnesota Vikings right now, and Alex Smith is with the Washington Redskins. Yeah. So obviously that's our quarterback.
Redskins?
It was something that the organization decided to do, and so for us, that's our man in charge. Is our.
Well, you sound like you might be disappointed in that move.
Disappointed? Why do you say that?
Well, I don't know.
Where'd that come from?
You're not raving about Alex.
I'm not raving about him. Of course I'm raving about him. The guy's a winner.
I'd say.
Like, what you mean? He's a winner in every place he's been at. And what he did with the Chiefs the first 6 games, you would have thought they was going to be those guys horsing that trophy. So at the end of the day, you got to look at that and see who is the person behind that and who's mentoring at him, and that was Alex Smith. So I'm glad we got the guy. Don't get me wrong now. Don't get me twisted.
Okay,
I'm glad we got him.
Well, would you say he's a little – I'll say it. I think he's considerably better than Kirk Cousins.
Well,
That's just me.
Well, personally, that two different people can say that. But at the same time, Kurt is in Minnesota, and we have Alex Smith with the Washington Redskins. I'm glad we do got him. And right now, the way Alex Smith is playing, his mindset and the way he's developed is better than Kirk Cousins right now because he's in a level right now in the league and his profession. He's been here, he's done it, he's seen those multiple playoff games and been in those situations and plays to where he sees the game differently than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins and the way he throws the ball and his accuracy is like, I mean, gosh, he got what he got for a reason. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, when you look at those two guys and you put them in that same room, you're going to be like, okay, Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins, who's experienced here? Both of them threw 4,000 yards, if I'm not mistaken. So, I mean.
Josh, my eye, I got new glasses, so I just started wearing them. So
I see. What are they?
Yeah, I can't tell you what they are.
You can't tell me.
But I'm missing something. You say, you keep telling me like Alex Smith won. You do realize Alex Smith had a 21-3 lead at home against the Tennessee Titans and lost. You do realize at one point in time he had a 28-point lead on the road and his team lost.
Okay. When you talk about that, you also know that it's also defense plays games too, right? When someone gives you that type of lead as a defense, you pin your ears back and you go get them.
Right.
You go get them. So at the end of the day, if I give you a 21 lead spread and you can't stop the other opponent from getting into the end zone, then you got to look at yourself in the mirror and be like, what did I do to come out here and get that L?
Does it concern you that he was in San Francisco and they wanted to go with Colin Kaepernick? He was in Kansas City and they wanted to go with Mahomes. It doesn't concern you that he's been in 2 stops and they've been ready to move on?
Absolutely not. Why? My team was ready to move on from me and I got somewhere else. I mean, that happens. That's the league. That's what comes with it. You got to understand that as a player, as a professional, that this is a business. I mean, anything can change just like that. But with him and how he was able to handle it, everywhere he's been successful. Everywhere he's been. So at the end of the day, they come out here and they play Alex Smith, and they wanted to play Patrick Mahomes the whole time anyway. Let's get honest. Let's be real about the situation. They was waiting for him to screw up, so they want to put him in there.
What? I'm glad that you said
so,
it.
I mean, at the end of the day, like, that's what it is.
Let's be real. You guys been trying to get rid of Kirk Cousins for the last 3 years. Since we telling the truth up here.
Okay, but guess what? You guys, saying you guys. I'm a player, so don't get me on this whole little thing.
How about Washington?
Washington. Okay, let's go there real quick.
Washington been trying
player,
to get rid of
organization. It's two different things here. You want to say that, but like I said, I mean, I don't know if they want to get rid of him. They franchise the guy, so he's getting played.
What does franchise tell you?
We like you for that year.
We like you, but we don't love you. We don't want to commit long term.
Okay, maybe they didn't want to marry him because they wanted to see what was going on. Who knows? But like I said, at the end of the day, it has to be both mutual relationships there. One got to do this and the other got to do this to come together to have that ring, So at the end of the day, you got to look at yourself in the mirror.
So Josh Norman, who's your arch rival of the Redskins?
Who is the arch rival of the Redskins?
You should know this. You've been there for 2 years.
Man, you got Dallas.
You got Dallas. Thank you. Okay, that's enough said. So guess what? Kirk Cousins was 1-6 against the Dallas Cowboys, your arch rival. Maybe that's why the Redskins didn't want to marry Kirk Cousins, wouldn't you say?
Well, you can say that. You can point out a lot of different things. That's a statistic you can put out there. I mean, I think getting to the playoffs, and having those games towards the end of the year can be something. I mean, we can say a lot of different things, but also you got to turn around and look at it like, what have we done for Kirk Cousins in a way to put him in that position? I mean, I know our coaches.
Deshaun Jackson.
I mean, our coaches have been great, though. Don't get me twisted and wrong about that. Jay Gruden, he does a hell of a job, getting those guys together. You talking about at what? What you mean at what? At getting together, like the offensive game plan going into the week? What you mean?
Oh, so it's all Kirk. So Jay Gruden does a great job, but it's Kirk Cousins' fault that it's not working, huh?
It's Kirk Cousins' fault. I mean, you got to put both blame in the hands of the situation here.
No, but
I mean, at the end of the day, if a coach calls a call, you go out there, you got to play that call, right? Or else quarterbacks are different because they do have multiple calls of what they see out there on the field. They can't check something if they see something different, right?
Right.
So obviously, you go out there, you have that all in your mind, and you prepared the way you supposed to prepare the whole entire week. You know that, right?
Hold on. So what you trying to say?
He's a professional when he prepares. Don't get me wrong. Now,
But you
Cousins
said
is in the building. He's in
the
the building.
Hold on. Josh,
What you saying?
Hold on. You keep saying when. You notice that, Skip? He said he can be a professional when he prepares.
I'm not saying he don't. What are you talking
That's
about?
what you said. You said he could be a professional when he prepares.
When he prepares.
Yeah.
So is this a wordplay game we
No,
doing
I'm
right
just
now?
asking you,
Because
so-
obviously I didn't have anything about it.
Are you saying he didn't prepare all the time? I mean, what?
No, he prepared every time I see him in the building. What do you mean? So I'm in the building, he's in the building, he's
Right.
prepared. Before, after the fact, we takes off. So at the end of the day, he's out there throwing more passes. He's out there getting himself ready to go prepare himself for the week ahead of what he has to look forward to. That's what he's out there doing.
So what am I
That's what I see.
What am I supposed
So
to
I
do?
mean,
what am I supposed to do about these 4,000-yard seasons? What am I supposed to do about these 25
that's the
plus
Jay Gruden
touchdowns?
system, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I mean, he did everything in his power to be a top performer. To be a top professional of the game. Kirk Cousins has came out and he performed admirably. I can't say anything else in that. And I also can say Jay Gruden has put a fire game plan each and every week out there for him to prepare and to perform. So at the end of the day, when you look at that, look at the Jay Gruden systems. Everybody where he played and how he's been an offensive coach and offensive mind. Has they not thrown for 1,000 yards?
Yeah, and have yet to win a playoff game.
Okay, but Andy Dalton, we can go back and play him.
Yeah,
Is he?
good. So, Josh Norman,
I'm
how
just
do you
saying.
explain that the team that you say is going to fight for third in the division, Dallas
Mm-hmm.
Cowboys, are 4-0 against Josh Norman while he's in Washington? How is that possible?
Skip, I got to agree with you on that.
Okay.
That is probably the thing that is the sharp, double-edged sword right here. Every time we play those guys, I don't know, man. The luck of the Irish is with them. I'm just probably I'm having to drink my water on that one.
Let me ask you a question.
Wait a second. On Des Bryant.
I know they're your team. I know
Go
they're
ahead.
your team.
No, go ahead. No, go ahead.
Because to us, he has become a shell of himself, and you do a number on Des Bryant when you play him. That's not the issue. So what do you see that is left in Des Bryant?
He has a lot left in the tank. It's what he wants to get out of that. That's the thing. I mean, he can be whatever he wants to be. Not here I'm going to down him, man. I'm not going to down him. He plays the game at the highest level. I think for him, it's all between here. Once he figured that out and once he feels that when I step on the field, I'm going to dominate, whether it's Josh Norman or a rookie that's coming in the league. No
But do
matter.
you fear Des can run by you
Do
anymore?
I fear him?
Yeah.
I don't fear nobody going to run by me.
Why you talking about it's in here? It's year 9. Why Dad still got to figure it out up in here?
I mean, everybody got to figure that out.
No, not in year 9. Stop, Josh.
Everybody
Josh,
figure
be
it out.
real
What
now.
you
Come
mean?
on, Josh.
I'm still figuring it out.
Josh, look, I'm not
What
saying
you
get up
mean?
here. I'm not saying get up here and beat Dez Bryant.
No,
Dez Bryant is not the same guy.
Okay, if you want to say that, it's about want to. You know that. It's about want to.
Dude, he's about to make $12.5 million.
Okay, they paid him. They paid him. But at the end of the day, I feel like Dez, he's a person that can get streaky. He gets streaky. When he gets streaky, he's going to
He ain't been streaky since 2014, Josh.
Hey, man, guess what? It's a new season this year, so maybe he can come back and do something
So
different.
I'm just going to forget 2015, 16, 17.
I don't think nobody's forgetting that. Don't get me
then
wrong.
so
Nobody's forgetting that.
So what leads you to believe he can get streaky and ascend again?
I don't know. I think that he has been taking measures and steps to get his game better. I mean, everybody has been taking measures and steps to get his game better. If I'm not mistaken, I've heard he's going to be working out with a new coach or something like that. I mean, you heard that?
No, working
You
out
heard
with
that?
a coach.
Oh, right, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So have you not heard that?
Yeah.
I mean, I think we all heard that.
Right.
So at the end of the day, that's getting yourself prepared for the season that's coming ahead, getting yourself better. You didn't do something last year that obviously gave you this output, so you're doing something different this year to give you a better one. I mean, at the end of the day, we all out here trying to win this game right here that these guys won, obviously, in our division. I hate that they did win it. I wish we could have done it, but we preparing ourselves for that. That's why, I'm trying to do different things in my regiment because I'm not trying to look at the person and say, who can make this excuse for me? Who can make that excuse for me? Why not you be that guy to come out there and make that play and be like, why not me? Why not me come out here and do something to get our team and be above that level so we can get there, you know? Why not I?
Dak Prescott, overrated, underrated? Which is he?
Man, he's underrated just for what he does. I mean, I think what we see in him is towards the end of the games, the end of the season, and that's not what he puts out there on the field. You know, when we play them, he's very much in tune in the game and where people are on the field. And he doesn't make mistakes. Crazy as it may seem, he knows where you are and doesn't make mistakes, whether it's a tight throw in the window or if it's a big throw, you know, or a deep bomb. He's not going to make it if somebody's hugging the receiver, man.
Yeah, we keep talking about Kirk Cousins not playing well. We ain't mentioned about old Washington defense.
Oh, yeah.
We ain't saying nothing about that. We're going to come back with that without the break, though. Talk about that a little later, Josh.
Hey,
yeah,
man.
I know that you ain't saying nothing about that.
Hey, look, I didn't because y'all asked me about
No,
Washington
you don't.
Kirk Cousins'
No,
offense.
but what you should have said.
About
but what you should have said. So you know what? Yeah, Kirk. Although Kirk played well, we got to play better on our side of football. But I saw the way you shift that blame.
Of course.
That
We're going to come to that. Obviously, I'm going to get on us. Don't get me wrong here. If you're going to ask me a question about Kirk Cousins and the Washington Redskins offense, I'm going to ask that question.
No, you say
but
no.
But at the end of the day, if you want to talk about our defense, we should be better. I'm going to tell you
that's
that.
what you're supposed to do.
We should be better.
As a team leader, you're supposed to take that upon yourself to say that.
That's what I said.
No,
I'm not trying to look for a cop-out. I'm not giving these guys cop-outs. I'm just telling you what it is. Like, we should take responsibility for our actions. Like you asked me earlier about how Kansas City got 21 up on Tennessee. And I was like, well, that's the defensive fault. To give you 21 straight points and you got to come back on that, that's the defense fault. But that's our defense too. So I'm looking at that. If someone gives us that many points and we let them come back in the game, that's on us. We got to look ourselves in the mirror and be like, what? We can do that. Why is it that we have to put our offense in this predicament? They have to come back here and win this game when we should have been pinning our ears back, ready to go and hunt somebody.
No mercy. The NFL draft is 3 weeks from tomorrow, and Joel Klatt has some big surprises in his newest mock draft. Joel has the Browns taking Sam Darnold #1, and the Giants surprising everyone by taking Josh Allen #2. Baker Mayfield then goes to the Jets, and the Browns take Saquon Barkley, and Josh Rosen falls all the way to 7th to the Bills. And we're joined now by Joel Klatt. Welcome, Joel.
Good morning. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Morning. Let's talk about those big surprises.
Yeah.
Why do you have Allen going to the Giants and Rosen going to the Bills?
So two reasons. First and foremost, there's a New York Giants reason, and then there's going to be a reason between the two players. So first, let's talk about the Giants reason. I think it would be foolish to deny the natural longevity of quarterbacks, okay? Everyone's now talking about quarterbacks like everybody can play to 40 because of what Tom Brady is doing.
And
Drew Brees. But as we all know, guys, that is not the norm.
No.
Okay, the rule is more that we're going to see a rapid decline of ability from a guy like Eli Manning who turned 37 in January. All right, so that's the reason that they better be looking at a quarterback really, really tightly in that #2 slot. So you start looking at some of the guys, and maybe it's Baker Mayfield, maybe it's Josh Allen, maybe it's Josh Rosen. If you're looking at Allen versus Rosen, I think there's a very clear distinction. Every one of these quarterbacks are going to have a red flag. They're going to have questions that you're going to have to answer, and it's much easier to answer for Josh Allen's question marks than it is Josh Rosen's question marks. Let me explain. Josh Allen right now, the big knock on him is that he didn't have a high completion percentage, and who knows if that's going to translate. Does he throw with touch? Does he throw with accuracy? But you can look at his supporting cast, Shannon, and the wide receivers he was looking at, the wide receivers he was trying to throw to, the team around him, and say, listen, no one was going to throw for over 60% in that offense with that supporting cast. Meanwhile, the question mark for Josh Rosen is his durability. That's a major concern because Rosen's durability is born out of the way that he plays the position. He's got a mentality that he's going to stand in there, manipulate the pocket, maybe take a hit or two, and get the ball down the field. That's going to lead to bigger hits. That's going to lead to contact. It's going to lead to injury. That's a question I can't get over if I'm the New York Giants, and I cannot answer that in the affirmative. Therefore, I've got to lean towards Josh Allen with that big arm, the impressive pro day, the system that he came out of. Remember, he played for Craig Bull, who also groomed Carson Wentz, so you've got that type of tie with Wentz doing his thing in Philadelphia. Those are the reasons why I've got now the Giants selecting Josh Allen at #2 in the draft. Wow.
I agree with you. Eli, I've seen nothing that I've seen from Eli over the last couple of years says that he's going to play well until he's 40.
Right.
So if you have an opportunity, Skip, you don't know when the next great we don't know if these guys, but you don't know when these high-rated quarterback prospects are going to come along again. And hopefully, if they do come along, you're not going to be in position to draft one of them because you don't want to be drafting in the 2 slot or in the top 10 because you want to be down, late 20s, 30s. Now you're doing good. You're in the playoffs. So the Giants don't know if they'll ever be in this situation again. And we keep talking about there might be 3 quarterbacks taken. Now, 99, Tim Couch, Donovan McNabb, Achilles Smith. Really only one of those worked out.
Yep.
Then you got to go back to 71 with Jim Plunkett, Archie Manning, Dan Pastorini. So 1, 2, 3 quarterbacks, you look at that like, ooh, I agree with you. From what I saw with Sam Darnold, the way he threw that wet ball, because he could have easily skipped, that messes with a guy, because that's a big-time job interview. It's one thing to interview with a guy that normally, but when the CEO comes in, the CEO was sitting in the rain with the man's parents, and he put on a spectacular display of throwing the football. It's going to be hard for the Browns and that man, because he's easily persuaded, Skip.
Yeah.
Remember, Jimmy Haslam was in the room when the phone rang and Johnny Manziel told, let's go wreck the league together. Jimmy, I got to take him.
To Dow Loggins. Yep.
Jimmy Haslam saw that sitting up in that ring with that umbrella, the man standing. He was getting wet, but he had a guy hold the umbrella for him. Sam Darnold going to the Browns.
I could not care less what Josh and what Sam Darnold did in some workout in the rain. I don't care. I care about what the tape says because the tape does not lie.
It doesn't.
And for me, watching TV, in the end, it does not lie. You can see what you see and what you don't see. And I'm going to say it again. There is a chance that all 4 of these top-rated quarterbacks 5 years from today will look back on and say, yeah. Like all 4 are flawed to me in very different ways to the point that I'm not completely sold on any of them.
You don't see the 83 draft quarterbacks.
Heck
the
no.
Marinos, the Kellys, the Elways.
So I'm going to say it one more time about poor Sam Darnold because he's a good kid. I really like him, and I think Cleveland's going to just fall in love with him as a kid because you've been around him, and he's really solid, and he really wants to do – he wants it so badly that I think he – tries too hard to live up to his Heisman billing last year and take a team that you have made the case was not as good as predicted, sort of expected.
Sure. His supporting cast, no doubt.
But if you really, he just became an all-time turnover machine to me because his interceptions went up from 9 to 13, his sacks went from 6 to 29. He led the nation with 8 lost fumbles after 5 lost fumbles the year before. Just so many turnovers that a lot of times, see Jameis Winston, it projects.
It does.
And I'm just not sure about it. And if you throw him in as the first overall pick to Cleveland and Hugh Jackson tries to prop him up in the starting lineup next year, it's just hard, man.
Yeah.
And they've had a recent rough time with quarterbacks, and he's going to try to do more than he's capable of, and he's going to start throwing it to the other team and getting it knocked out of his hands.
I don't believe any quarterback that goes with the first pick. I believe Tyrod Taylor will be the opening day starter.
I hope they
do. The opening day starter,
I hope
unless something happens.
And here's where it goes back to Haslam, right? Are you giving Hugh Jackson the runway to start Tyrod Taylor? Right? To develop the young quarterback.
Yes.
Because if he doesn't have the runway, maybe he's forcing the young kid in there, and that's the way he's trying to elongate his tenure with the Cleveland Browns. But I will tell you that history would suggest, I know it's a recent history, but history would suggest that we've had more, let's call them quote-unquote hits in the first round with quarterbacks in the last 3 years than we have failures. Take a look. We got Winston and Mariota. I think both of those organizations, maybe not saying, hey, those are home runs, but they're moving forward with those guys. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah,
then
but
you've
both got some issues going on. They both do, but go ahead.
Maybe not home runs, but solid NFL starters that they're building the franchise around. Then you got Goff, Wentz, and then maybe the only failure of this group, Paxton Lynch. Yeah. So that happens.
I would say failure.
No question about it, in Denver. And then you got Trubisky, Mahomes, and Watson. Mahomes is going to get his chance. We'll see with Trubisky, and we're all in love with what Deshaun Watson was doing before he got
I was in love with him before all this, before the draft.
So I say all that to tell you, I actually think that we'll be sitting here in 4 years and not going, but, hey, 3 teams got their guy.
3 out of 4, so
somebody's going to be the odd man out. That's a tough question. If you're asking me right now which guy is going to be the best long-term quarterback in the NFL of these top-rated quarterbacks, I would say Mayfield. And I'd say the guy that would be right on the outside, even though I have him number 2, remember this is a mock, not my own projections, I think Josh Allen is the 4th of those guys because I like Rosen more than Allen. I think his durability can be answered. But if you're the Giants, that's a tough pick. That's why these mocks are a lot different than what you're going to do. If I'm picking, I'm taking Mayfield, then Darnold, then I'm probably going to take Josh Rosen.
I'm telling you, the guy that goes to the right situation, let him sit for a year or two, give me Lamar Jackson.
Okay, and you could be right about that. I mean, that's going to take 2 years, and you're going to have to ease him into the fray because he's got a lot to try to figure out on the fly.
Boy, he's talented, isn't he?
Yeah. Extreme
talent. He can spin the ball better than people give him credit for.
He can. There's no doubt, and his accuracy certainly improved this last year under Bobby Petrino. Here's the one thing I'm worried about with Lamar Jackson. I'm glad you brought him up. I hope someone gets a hold of Lamar and says, listen, it's not a bad thing if you have to play a different position for a time. Let me explain.
I don't know.
Hold on. Let me explain. Would Cordell Stewart have ever been a starting quarterback in the league if he wasn't willing to be slash first? Because he needed to develop out of Colorado. He was slash for a time. They go to a Super Bowl, remember? Then he was the starting quarterback when you guys played him in the AFC Championship game in 1996. He was the starting quarterback. All I'm saying is, Lamar, you can get on a roster because you are supremely gifted. Allow that to happen, and then the development can take place. If you're just saying, no, I'm just a quarterback, well, now I'm put into a bind here. Well, is he good enough to be our...
But if you're going to take him, say you take, I don't know.
I'm planning on him being a quarterback, but I'm just saying he's good enough to be on my roster right now because of a lot of different factors.
Where are you projecting him? Late first, early second?
Absolutely. No doubt. Somewhere between, Shannon, if I was saying somewhere between 26 and 41.
Okay.
Those, because I know I can put him on my roster.
Right.
He can be on the 53 while developing and continue to help my program win football games.
I'm going to say this one more time. All the stats of projecting their college production into pro football say that Baker Mayfield is by far the biggest slam dunk of all these 5 quarterbacks because his stats for long-time starts, where he was starting as a freshman all the way to his senior year, if you look at the Q-base that Football Outsiders uses, it's got him off the charts. It's got him as an all-time top 10 projection into pro football because you know what the stats are. I always consider him high risk, but he's low mistakes, man.
Yeah, but Skip, normally quarterbacks that are really good, they don't stay long because he stayed so long. Because normally guys get good, they going after their sophomore year, their junior year. They're definitely not staying 4 years. Well, he was in the college like 5 or 6 years. He's
Broadway
like
Baker.
I wouldn't want to play him in the division twice a year. I'm just saying that. You know?
Phil, thanks for joining.
You bet.
No mercy. Tim Tebow made a great debut in Double-A baseball yesterday.
It is far.
First pitch of his very first at-bat with the Binghamton Rumble Ponies. Tebow went yard, launching a majestic shot over the right field wall. It was a 3-run homer, and the Rumble Ponies win.
Did you see that, Shannon?
Wow.
Shannon. Whoa. You all right? You okay?
Going, gone. Welcome, Rob Parker.
What's happening? Good morning.
Binghamton Rumble Ponies.
It's a good name.
Double-A professional baseball league. Go ahead,
Professional.
Rob.
Yeah.
Rob, how impressive was this?
No, anytime you get a home run, we always talk about it. The hardest thing to do in sports is to hit a baseball. So
to hit a baseball consistently.
No, absolutely. It is. It's very hard. That was a majestic shot. I give him credit. Now, here's the thing, Skip, that's going to be different for you. You ready?
Yeah.
Tim Tebow actually, right, if he can have success, you know all the good players in baseball are where? In Double-A.
They are.
This is where, it's not the old days where Triple-A was the top place. All the real players that move on to the major league are Double-A players. So if he can somehow, some way play consistently, and it's not the strikeouts before, he struck out a lot. He struck out basically, he's played 126 minor league games, he struck out 126 times.
Yep.
That's not good enough. But if you can have what Aaron Judge did, and I'm not saying 50 home runs, but hit enough home runs and have a high enough batting average, they don't look down on you like they used to. Before, he would never make the major leagues or never have a chance to make the major leagues. Do I think he's going to make the major leagues?
No way, no how.
I don't. But if he had any shot at making it, he'd have to hit home runs. What'd you just say? Consistent?
Yes.
Consistently on the AA level for people to finally, because to me, Skip, this is his last year of really playing.
I would agree.
If he goes to AA and we got 230 and you're striking out 2 times a game and you hit 4 home runs or 5 home runs, there's no reason to continue. And here's the other kicker. The Mets aren't a dish rag anymore. They're a good team that most people have getting a wild card and making the playoffs.
Yep.
So there's no reason to bring them in to try to sell tickets at the end of the year. They're going to want somebody who can contribute because they have a playoff contending team.
You need a little September pop?
Right, exactly, coming off the bench.
I don't know. Interesting.
So are you shocked that I gave you that?
I'm a little surprised.
The
it was
first
objective.
Of all, flu season is past. The only shot Tim Tebow is going to get is a flu shot. We've seen this before, Skip. What happened in spring training? Can you tell the people that doesn't follow baseball that closely, what was Tim Tebow hitting in spring training?
Tell them what your researcher told you.
I don't know. He was busy. I gave my researcher off. His wife's birthday was the other day. I gave him time off.
That is not true.
In spring training, Tim Tebow was hitting .056. He was 1 for 18 with 11 strikeouts. But let me tell you what he did last year.
That ain't going to get you to the big league.
Let me tell you what he did last year for the Columbia Fireflies. In his very first at-bat, can you guess what happened, Rob?
He hit a home run.
What? And over the next 125 games, he hit 7 more total with all those strikeouts. Pop. Whatever. You know it, Skip Bailey. This is, I can't even, you know what, Skip Bailey?
This has got you. Because you're starting to get scared over there.
Scared of what?
Your seat's getting a little hot.
Because what? He strikes out more than he makes contact with the ball. The mere fact that they're doing everything. They've cleared, like you like to say, this is Skip Bayless' favorite term. They've cleared the deck for him. They're doing everything they can to get him up there. He just can't.
He can't do it.
Man, they can't.
Wait, Rob, now you're flipping around.
No, I'm just saying, unless Skip, he can show you, he can hit some home runs on AA against the best talent.
So, Tim Tebow, in his first appearance in low A ball a year ago, he hits a home run. And in his first appearance as he got promoted to to high A ball, he hit a home run.
Yeah.
And then his first at bat in AA, he hit a home run. And it wasn't just a home run, it was a shot. It was like what Joy and I saw in that audition day at USC.
Joy, stop!
Showcase.
It was a showcase, and he was just ripping shots, pull shots over the scoreboard of is it Rodetto Stadium, I think, at USC. They were moon shots, and this wasn't the Oppo Jack. This was a ball that he pulled, and I didn't see a lot of pulled shots.
You on moon rocks if you think you're going to make the major.
He got a round on that pitch, and obviously that was the Portland Sea Dogs opening day starter. Am I right?
Look at these names.
AA.
The Portland Sea Dogs playing the Rumble Ponies.
Yeah, look him up. Teddy Stankiewicz. He was a second-round draft pick. Okay, for the Boston Red Sox. So, again, you're up against their opening day starter, and boom, you pull it. And what did Tim Tebow do during the offseason? He worked, man. You got to give him that. He will work. He is dedicated to the task at hand because, remember, he went 12 years without playing baseball. It is the hardest game to figure out, to learn. It takes years to learn. That's why a lot of kids don't even want to take the path. It's just too hard.
And Skip, you know this. You fail 7 times out of 10. You're a Hall of Famer. Yep. That's how hard the game is.
So what happens if you fail 9 times out of 10?
You don't make the major league.
Oh, okay. So there we have it.
But Sandy Alderson is seeing what we always saw in the sport of football. All he does is win.
No, he doesn't.
My video that we did.
All he does is strike out.
All he does is win.
All he does is strike out.
Didn't you win an award for that video?
I didn't, but it did.
Yeah.
It did. The video won an award.
What about what? You want to see if they put together, like 10 home runs, I bet I can put together a video, a montage of all them strikeouts. He got 10 times to strike out.
Sandy Alderson, the GM of the Mets, who's been around for a couple of days, hasn't he? He's been all over the place, been with the A's in their glory years, and he said before spring training started, I think he'll play in the major leagues, said Sandy Alderson of Tim Tebow. That's my guess. That's my hope. And to some extent now, after a year and a half, a modest expectation. So he was trying to sort of.
But what Sandy left out in that quote is that he'll probably have a cup of coffee and a sweet roll if he gets there. It won't be that long.
Yeah, and he said this experiment is not going to last forever, but he has made meaningful progress. Again, hadn't played for 12 years,
which
the
is
hardest
unheard
game
of,
to
right.
play. And all of a sudden, you just step in against all those bonus babies, and you start in the Arizona Fall League. It is loaded with top prospects.
That isn't what Rob said. Rob said the top prospects are in Double-A.
No, but I mean, they go to the Arizona Fall League before they go to Double-A.
But Double-A is weird, and that's why I'm saying when he says this experiment won't last forever.
Yeah.
If he strikes out and bats 110 in Double-A, he will not make it to the major leagues, and he won't be in the minor leagues next year.
Joy,
this is it.
I'm not in chemistry. I'm not in science class. What are we doing experiments for? Oh, this experiment. Whoa, wait a minute.
But you're betting on intangibles because you saw what he did in Denver as a football
quarterback. I ain't betting on intangibles. Yeah, I'm betting on talent. I want to bet on something. Look
what did Tim Tebow do in this offseason? He dropped, I don't know, he said 12 pounds. It looks like he's dropped about 15 pounds because he was a little thick last year. He's a little muscle-bound, a little too top-heavy maybe, and so he looks thinner, sleeker, lighter, faster.
What you need to be.
You need a little more bat speed. And I saw bat speed on that pitch. He got around on it, and he has got raw power. He's born with power. We know that.
I go out there right now and knock one over the fence.
Yeah.
Right now.
Have you ever hit a home run?
What kind of question is that?
No, I'm serious.
Of course I have.
Skip, did you hit home runs?
No.
Nope.
I never hit one. Over the fence. I've run out of home runs.
Wiffle ball doesn't count, Shannon.
I'm talking about, have you ever hit one out of the park?
Rob, you like 59 and you 116 pounds.
Stop
it. Can you imagine when you were a teenager how much you weighed? 83 pounds. No 83-pound guys.
You think I'm 59? I look good. I'm not 59.
You close.
You're close.
No. Oh, Shay Sharp.
You're saying that Rob Parker is 10 years older than you, Shannon?
I'm still in my 40s.
I'm not even that right. He makes it like I'm that much older than you.
You are that much.
I'm not.
So
you at least 7.
I'm going to say what I've said from the start.
You're 50 years old, right?
I'm 49.
Okay, and I'm 54.
Okay, there you go.
We're the same.
Here's the point. I'm going to say what I said from the start. This is a long shot, but this is the one guy you've got to give a shot to because you don't bet against this guy. When he puts his mind to something.
I'm just going to hold you, Skip, yes or no. Yes or no. Does he make it to the major league?
Yep.
Okay.
I just got a feeling they're going to give him a shot.
Rob.
And it's going to be it's going to have to be this year because I think this is going to be the end of the line.
Hold on. You make it seem like Tim Tebow is the only guy that's put his mind to something. There are a lot of there are a lot of guys that was in Double-A,
Yeah,
Single-A.
but sometimes you just got to have that magic, you know?
I view him as a battery guy. Double-A, Triple-A, and Single-A. That's how he's going.
Double-A is a lot of battery.
It ain't the majors.
No, I think he's more like 9 volt.
It's gonna hurt you if he makes the majors. You might call him to work.
I mean, that ain't nothing.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Join us again at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Monday for another full week of Undisputed. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports 1 of 1.